2.8 million Little Leaguers, nearly 3 million, began the chase to Williamsport that will end in the World Series later this month. Yet outside of organized games with umpires, uniforms, and screaming parents, when was the last time you saw kids playing a pickup baseball game? Yet the dream of the big leagues and the big bucks is alive and well. In tonight's cover story, Steve Cyphers has found where the Sandlotters of this generation are hanging out.
There you go, dig in, Chief!
Maybe you missed it, but the game has changed. What used to be learned in the backyard with Dad or on Little League fields with friends is now being learned by appointment with professionals.
Okay, so you're finishing everything right there. No head movement, the head stays nice and still.
Palms up, alligator palms, feet squared apart.
So you want to keep your bat on the plane of the ball a long time.
It's called personal or private instruction. And across the country, for 30 to 60-minute one-on-one sessions, for kids from 5 to 45, business is booming.
We went from a $50,000 side business to now gross revenues, over $1.5 million.
We went from 50 people our first year to about 4,000 people annually between private lessons, summer camps, coaches, clinics.
That first year was 1984 in Connecticut. But by the 90s, the trend was nationwide.
Attaboy.
Between jobs as San Diego's manager and Tampa Bay's third base coach, Greg Riddock owned and operated a popular baseball academy in Greeley, Colorado.
I think people are willing to, when they want their children to get the best possible instruction they can, they're willing to do whatever it is to take to do that.
With all the competitive leagues that have popped up, I think the level of competition has just become so much greater that each individual person is deciding to try to get an edge somewhere.
Brad Moore pitched professionally for 10 seasons, including 8 1/3 innings of Major League service. Now in Longmont, Colorado, at a Grand Slam USA, one of the national franchises offering private lessons, he teaches the craft to boys like 11-year-old Mike Hartman, while Tim Beam learns to hit.
Coil, hit.
At what age do you teach a batter to charge the mound? Tim is the youngest of 3 brothers who receive instruction, though their dad coaches 11 and 14-year-old teams.
The instructors here validate what I say on the baseball field. I always pick up tips from them. There's little things that they say. We're saying the same thing, but they say it sometimes a little bit differently.
Many times we're telling that little boy the same thing his father's telling him, but coming from a third party, somebody they don't know, somebody with a uniform on, they listen a little bit more intently, and the job gets done. It might make it easier to see the ball.
He focuses on me and shows me what I'm doing wrong. At camp, everybody's got to go through it. You don't get as much time one-on-one, so I think coming here helps a lot better.
Thinking line drive. Good. Attaboy. In our facility, we get a lot of people that are serious about baseball. They want to improve their skills.
Who's serious, the kid or the parent?
A lot of time it's the parent and the kid's not so involved.
You do get that pushy parent who wants little Johnny or little Sally to be on the Olympic team or to be at that professional level.
We've had to refund money back many times where the parents, and I hate to say most of the time the fathers, are actually interacting during the lesson, are talking and many times chastising the player during the lesson.
No, personal instruction is not for every boy and girl. And yes, says Craig McBride, there are times when a student, especially a younger one, hears conflicting advice from his team coach.
A lot of coaches just don't have the training, or they just don't know, and they're teaching them bad habits.
Instead of being there, let's take and end up right there, okay? Probably 80% of different fundamentals that are taught about hitting are false. Okay, they don't really hold much truth.
But just because a parent pays for instruction, that doesn't guarantee good instruction. So says Tony Abatini, who runs the Frozen Ropes training centers in the Northeast.
I think the problem that's happened in the industry is that obviously there's no certification, and that anyone really who has played baseball seems to think that they can teach it.
Fees vary, but one can expect to pay about $30 for a half-hour lesson, a commitment that forced Diane Moran to question whether private lessons were right for her 6- and 10-year-old sons.
Yeah, isn't that a little obsessive? Yeah. I thought so. I have to say that I did.
Until she saw her son's reaction.
Nice job.
The more they play, the happier they are.
The only downside could be that people would spend money and get nothing out of it.
Valerie von Lervenstein is
swing.
not in that category.
Let's see if we can get that chin away from your shoulder.
To her, the instruction is not a ticket to a major league career for 7-year-old Wolfgang. It is, instead, akin to music lessons, an investment.
Yeah, absolutely, in themselves and in their future playing. I mean, they love baseball, so. But really, it's really an investment in how they look at themselves, too, because they really feel great.
I don't think any parent that gives piano lessons expects the next Beethoven. I think they do it because the child likes to do it, and it's a hobby that they can continue the rest of their life.
Smile and enjoy what you do. Hitting is the superficial part of it. We want individuals who feel good about themselves, who are confident, because they'll go on to make the world better.
If Christopher came that first day and didn't like it, I wouldn't have pursued it any further. But to see him smile and to see him thoroughly enjoy it, it's been worth it.
A son's happiness, a parent's pride. Maybe the game hasn't changed. In Longmont, Colorado, Steve Cyphers, ESPN.